In this video, we're going to be using angle relationships to solve for x. So looking at our first example to the right, you'll notice we are given two angles, 2x plus 14 and 3x minus 4. And you'll also notice that those two angles are next to each other and they make a straight line. That means they're a linear pair, and that means they add to 180 degrees. So if we wanted to solve for x, we could write an equation where adding the two angles together is equal to 180 degrees. So if we add the two angles together, 2x plus 14 plus 3x minus 4 is equal to 180 degrees. In order to solve this equation, we're going to combine our x's, so we're going to combine the 2x and the 3x to give us 5x. We're going to combine the 14 and the negative 4 to give us plus 10 is equal to 180 degrees. We can continue solving this equation by subtracting 10 from both sides, giving us 5x is equal to 180 minus 10 is 170. Divide both sides by 5. Since it's 5 times x, we get rid of the 5 by dividing both sides by 5, leaving us with x is equal to 34. It's a great idea to check your answers on these problems by substituting x back into the original angles. In this case, 2 times 34 plus 14. 2 times 34 is 68 plus 14. 68 plus 14 is 82. So our first side is 82, this angle 82 degrees. And our second angle is 3 times 34 minus 4. That gives us 102 minus 4, which gives us 98. So this angle is 98. And if we add 98 and 82, we should get 180 degrees, which we do. That means we found the correct value of x. All right, let's take a look at the angles down below, the x plus 40 and the 5x minus 20. In this case, you'll notice that the two angles are not next to each other, but they're opposite of each other. So since they're across from each other on those intersecting lines, that means they're vertical angles, which means in this case they are equal. So x plus 40 is going to be equal to 5x minus 200. Since we have x's on both sides of the equal sign, we're going to solve that by getting rid of one of the x's on one of the sides. I'm going to choose the smaller amount of x's, so I'm going to subtract x from both sides to get rid of that x on the left-hand side. This leaves me with 40 is equal to 5x minus x is 4x minus 200. I can then add 200 to both sides, giving me 240 is equal to 4x. And then divide both sides by 4, giving me x is equal to 60. It's a great idea to check your answer again by substituting the value of x back into the two angles. 60 plus 40 is 100, and 5 times 60 is 300 minus 200, so that's also 100 degrees. And since both angles are congruent or equal, that means we found the correct value of x. So here's a couple of examples for you to try on your own. Please go ahead and set up the equations and solve the equations, pressing pause and press play when you're ready to see the answers. So for the first problem, I noticed they were vertical angles, so I set the two equal to each other and solved and got x equals 20. And I checked that and found out that that made both of the angles equal to 50, so it actually worked. And for the bottom one, I found out that the two angles together were a linear pair, so they added together to equal 180 degrees. And I found out that x is equal to 30, so when I substituted 30 back into both of the x values, I found out the left-hand angle was 170 degrees and the bottom angle was 10 degrees, so definitely nowhere near to scale for the picture. But 170 plus 10 did equal 180. That means they were supplementary, which means they were a linear pair, and that means we found the correct value of x.